This is Morning Routines with the I Love Success podcast. Just walk us through your morning routines.
Wow. Well, the morning routines used to be dictated or determined by the team, right? By the national team. And when you're at the Olympic Training Center, and we would wake up first thing in the morning, we would do our sprints, we would eat our breakfast. This was all before sunrise, and then we would go into a day of training, three or four workouts per day. And when I put sport behind me and went into this internet startup culture, it became very reactive. It was just like I would just sleep when I could, and I would wake up and I would just immediately jump on the computer and start dealing with emails or support requests or whatever it was, and I really had no structure anymore. And it was really this radical experiment to see what effect that would have. And what I found, just like we talked about, all these, my health just was destroyed. And I think part of that was in losing that morning ritual, because it is so important. And you talk about this in your book here about having this daily ritual and making these things habits. When we did the project with the women Olympians before London, we worked with a Navy SEAL, Mark Devine. And Mark is really big on these morning rituals, doing the breathing and meditation before you even start your day, and getting very clear on, he called it your win. What's your win for today? And you want to choose a win that's connected with your long-term why. That's why are we on this earth? What are our unique talents? And you talk about that a lot in your book too. What is this sort of purpose-driven life that we're living here, and how do you connect your daily goals with that? So in the morning, he was really an advocate of meditating on this daily win. And we took that a step further when we started getting data about the athletes and my data as an athlete, and looking at things like light exposure. So, and this was pretty fascinating. You can see that in the morning, if you get bright light in your eyes, it tells your body that it's your circadian rhythm, right? It signals to your brain that the day is starting. And if you get that bright light and you really strengthen the circadian rhythm, it helps you sleep later that night. And so we saw in the data that when they were getting bright light in their eyes, when they were outdoors, they were sleeping better that night, right? So now it's not just the breathing and meditation on, what is the win for today, but it also includes some environmental things like being outside and being in the sunlight. And now here in Santa Monica, it's beautiful because I go to the beach every morning and wake up before the sun rises, and I do this breathing and meditation out at the ocean. And that, of course, that natural, we're in Southern California, and the sunlight is very bright here, and it works in the morning. So for example, then when we went to London with the athletes, where it was cloudy, we used light boxes, that put off this artificial light to make sure that we kept these circadian rhythms very strong. And a lot of people, they look at something like a light box and they think, well, this is just for depressive therapy. What? Someone joked at one point, they're like, what are your athletes depressed? Why would you need these lights? And it's like, well, no, because the goal is to not be depressed. It's to maximize human potential. And if anything like this helps you, and we, I've felt it firsthand, when you get that morning light, it elevates your mood. Like I said, you sleep better. So anyway, that's a big part of what I do every morning.
Great. That sounds really good. Yeah. So you wake up early before the sun sets, you go to the beach, you do your meditation. What else do you do? What do you eat? Do you exercise? Let us know.
Using this data, about our bodies, we also saw that blood sugar, when you wake up in the morning from the fast, your cortisol levels are very high, your blood sugar tends to be very low, and you need to get that up, which is why breakfast is so important, and it's why protein in the morning is so important, because if you're only eating orange juice or sugary like cereals, these breakfast cereals that are horrendous, way too much sugar. In the morning, that can really spike your blood sugar. So my routine, I wake up in the morning, I usually have a couple of hard-boiled eggs, maybe a protein shake, just to get the blood sugar up and starting to go again. And then I go out to the beach and I do this breathing, very intentional kind of meditation. I start moving my body. I think that moving meditation is a very good way, to get everything sort of activated. And I don't drink caffeine, no coffee. Because again, if you're getting that light in your eyes in the morning and your sleep is optimized, you should have no problem waking up and feeling energy as soon as you start calling for it, because you're doing this more energizing deep breathing and you're starting to move your body and getting it going, and setting your intention on what the purpose is of the day. And I think if these components, again, those 4 pillars, sleep, exercise, nutrition, and well-being, if these are all in place, you should have no problem having that energy response without caffeine and some of these things.
Okay, that sounds great. So after that, what do you do? Do you set your goals for the day, or do you just start working? How do you do? And what time is it when you start actually working?
Yeah, so this morning routine starts at about 6 or 6:30, and I go through this, and this takes about an hour. And then I come back, I eat a full breakfast, and then I go into the office and you have a work session where a lot of this is very popular here in this office in WeWork. A lot of us use these things called Pomodoros. So these are 25-minute blocks of time. And you get a little bit of a break in between, so you can get up, you move around, and then you go back into your next Pomodoro. And usually I'll do a series of these in the morning. And first sit down, look back at the high-level strategy. What's the why? What's the win for the day? How do these things break down? Like you say in your book, you have these sub-goals. And then a lot of that's looking at the calendar, and then, spending a session going and answering emails and doing those all within. And I think those Pomodoros are a great way to organize your time as an entrepreneur.
Perfect. Yeah, I like it. Short breaks are very important. And how do you feel these morning routines works for you? Is it important with mornings routines, you think? Or what happens if you just, a lot of people, they're very morning tired, so they'll just wake up really fast and get dressed, grab a coffee on the way and go to their office. Some of them are really good at what they do, but do you feel that they can have the same impact in their business and life, like persons like you that have mornings routines?
Well, I have a lot of friends that have shared, challenges that they've been having through the day, and I can only judge so much. I mean, I only know from my own firsthand experience. But yeah, I can tell you, between those times with no routine, with no intentional morning routine, when you're just in a reactive mindset, it really changes the outcome of your entire day. Because when you simply wake up and you're reacting, it puts you in that reactive mindset. And you tend, at least from my experience, I tend to continue in that reactive mindset all through the day. And it's almost like you're in a car and you're not behind the steering wheel. And unless it's like a great self-driving car, I mean, you're sitting there and who knows where this car is going. It could head for a crash hours later. We don't know. So what the morning routine enables you to do is really get in the driver's seat and take that wheel from the get-go. And when you set that tone, I think you can, and you set that intention very strong, you will manifest those things all through the day.